Ooh.
What's up, YouTube? Robert the Monster Among Marks Drap here. We're back again for WWE Evolution and... Oh, wait, we got an 8-second delay. Holy crap, what the hell? No, I'm sorry. Just reading this whole thing wrong. I'm with my good friend and tag team partner, Sierra. How we doing tonight? That looks tasty. I don't know what it is, but it looks tasty.
Got a pour. Doesn't sound. It's raining, and I am not drunk.
God damn it. I am going to have to close a window because it is being problematic over on this end, trying to run 5 windows at the same time, and the wonderful broadcast software, so we can all see everybody here. You are actually roboting the fuck out right now, so this is going to be interesting. Damn you, CBSSports.com.
You are.
Okay, so let's see here.
Which is why I'm probably mixing meat and good.
Yeah. Let's get rid of. I will get rid of cage side seats for now. We can talk about that later.
I'm so good.
I mean, I can hear you, and you've gone.
My mom just told me the story. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
God damn it!
I can't hear you.
That's what happens when you have a terrible computer. This is why you should support the show. Everybody should go on ahead and give me money so I can have a better computer. But, like I said, we're going to be talking WWE Evolution. We're going to be talking about the news and rumors from the last week. For those of you who don't know, the all-women's pay-per-view known as Evolution will be coming to us live Sunday night, which is it's gonna be an interesting show. I think I really have high hopes for this one. We've got some your last minute need to knows and our thoughts on said pay-per-view. So it's going to be interesting. As always, please like, comment, subscribe, share all those wonderful things down below. Hit the bell for the notifications. Follow the show on Twitter at InMoshPit. Follow my good friend and co-host at Heavy Metal Hippie. Follow yours truly at Rob's Random Roms. We try to talk to everybody who talks to us. We try to be awesome for you guys because you guys deserve it. And I love the fact that, just to say something before my co-host comes back, I don't really like the Iconics, but I like how I look like I'm in the middle of the picture. Like, if I stretch my image here, I could probably just completely block out Ember Moon, who's not, that's not something I'd want to do, but I probably could make it look like I'm standing in that picture. Like, yeah! Evolution! Which is really good. I don't know exactly offhand where Evolution is going to be coming to us from, but let's see if we can get a Heavy Metal Hippie here. Somebody cast a spell for yours truly, trying to get her back on the show. I ain't got no magic words, but abracadabra, motherfuckers. Let's see if that works. Usually this is not how we start out a show. Nope. Didn't get her on that one. And to be honest, she does usually call me. To be fair. Nope. I can't technology, so anyway. Let's see. I want to bring up, while we have a minute here, let's go on ahead and talk about a subject on this card. We've got the first ever all women's pay-per-view featuring matches for Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and as well as the Mae Young Classic Tournament Finals. I know nothing about the Mae Young Classic, so I am going to turn that over to my good friend and tag team partner whenever we can get her back on the line. But let's go on ahead and start with a match that I'm not 100% about. Like, I don't know. I don't know who's going to win it. So, let's see if we can get her to call me, because I know nothing. Call me. Bam. Because she usually calls me. Sorry for the caps lock. Because we try to be polite here. Anyway, the announced participants for this battle royal are indeed Asuka, Naomi, Carmella. It says I'm offline. Let's see if I can pick up the because I was watching something before. I was watching something on YouTube before this. Nope. We are on. We are on here. Let's see if we can get her back on here by trying to call her. My friend posted something on Tumblr. I like Tumblr. I do. We have, like I said, Asuka, Naomi, Carmella, Nia Jax, Ember Moon, Alicia Fox, who I don't actually think is going to be in this, Dana Brooke, Lana, Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, Tamina, Tori Wilson, Michelle McCool, Alundra Blaze, Ivory, Molly Holly, Kelly, Maria Kanellis is apparently going to be in this thing, as well as Zelina Vega.
What the
can you hear me?
Robot much?
You can you've got robot on me?
Beep boop beep.
I can hear you perfectly fine.
I understood that. I can.
Okay.
Try again.
I don't want to try again. I don't like trying.
Wally, is that you?
I am going to turn off one important part of this, and I'm going to turn on a part. I got to add in a part that I don't normally do, except for when it just completely goes sideways on us here. I have got to bring back just the stand-in picture for my co-host. I don't want to do that. I hate doing that, especially when she went to the effort of looking so good for the camera, and because I just drag my bearded ass in here and I do this, she actually put some effort in, and I look like a fucking ghost. I can hear you, by the way. If you can hear me, we're going to start.
You're still Wally. You are still very, very much Wally.
I don't know how I can be.
Poor network connection. I should not have poor network connection. I am right on.
Hang on.
We'll try to talk real quick.
I'm also sharing the house, as you may recall, with a wonderful person who's doing wonderful things, including playing Final Fantasy. Can you hear me better now? I'm not getting any response from my co-host. So I'm going to move on. Out of Asuka, Naomi, Carmella, Nia Jax, Ember Moon, Alicia Fox, Dana Brooke, Lana, Billie Kay, Peyton Royce, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, Tamina, Tori Wilson, Michelle McCool, Alundra Blaze, Ivory, Molly Holly, Kelly, Maria Kanellis, and Zelina Vega. I think that I would actually have to pick Ember Moon, and I'll tell you why. This whole thing with the Bellas, and this is going to inform my decision for the Raw Women's Championship as well.
I can hear you.
Wonderful.
I can hear
you. And we can continue on.
Sorry, you can't see me.
That's okay. I put your stand-in up on the screen.
Is it my new picture of me being all crunk on the steps of DC?
I don't know, because I only have the one that you have in front of the that you had in front of your flag that you have in your background.
Okay, I updated my profile picture.
This is true, you did. So we're talking.
You were talking about the Battle Royal, I assume.
We are talking about the Battle Royal.
With the Battle Royal, I would like to put in a suggestion.
Mm-hmm.
Pick a SmackDown and a Raw competitor.
All right. From Raw, who I'm actually, I'm strongly endorsing on this. I'm gonna say
grab the pen.
Go for it. She's reaching around the desk, I'm sure. I've got.
You're gonna say Ember, even though she stood tall?
I am going to say Ember for one reason. There are very few people on the Raw roster currently that have had the TV time, that have had the build-up necessary to become a credible challenger for Ronda Rousey. A bit of a rivalry between Ember Moon and Ronda Rousey would be fun. I think the two of them could absolutely have a go of it, and I would love to see it. So,
okay, how about for a SmackDown competitor?
See, I guess the problem for me is when I look at SmackDown, there's not a whole lot there that I would want to vote for.
You see Asuka.
Actually, I'm actually going to go the other way with it. I'm thinking that of all the people
going
there,
low?
I'm gonna actually go with Lana. They've had the storyline revolving around her for quite a while now, and for her to get the one up, for her to actually win, and then turn around and face Becky Lynch as the face that really wants it, that nobody took seriously and finally got there. And it's kind of the
She got there via Aiden English.
No, I don't think she's gonna, like, Aiden's not gonna help her. Not in this. But
pressed me that much in the ring.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I didn't think it. The problem is finding anybody on the SmackDown roster currently that could go toe to toe with Becky and make a compelling line. You've got maybe two, and you were right with the other one. It was Naomi being one of the better choices. I just think it.
So Naomi is my pick, my SmackDown pick.
I mean, makes sense.
And it makes sense in a way because Naomi and Becky have been doing live shows together as of late. Naomi actually tore a chunk of Becky's. And then Naomi being the other third of the Power Tough girls. I don't know. They were like the Powerpuff Girls of the WWE. But so yeah, I have Naomi because she's really the only other compelling face character I can think of off the top of my head, aside from Asuka or Lana.
Yeah. It's not going to be one of
actually
the
hurt to do.
part-timers. You shouldn't have done that then. I don't know what you did, but you shouldn't have done it.
But for Raw's side, I choked because I said Lana's name.
Ah,
But on the Raw side, and I know I'm gonna bite myself in the butt by doing this because I really want to see a feud or a tag team with her and another competitor, but I'm gonna go Nia Jax.
I mean, she wouldn't be a bad choice
Just
for
because
the
the
next to face
feud that
Rousey.
Nia and Ronda had at the very beginning was crap because it was supposed to be based on respect, and then Stephanie came in and turned it into something else. And instead of Nia standing up and be like, "No, I actually wanted to do this out of respect," it was, "Yeah, we'll play Stephanie's part and say, yeah, I only offered you this match because I know I can beat you."
Well,
But I do want to see Nia and Tamina get into something because that would be.
yeah, that's gonna be a good fight. Let's see here. There's a lot of nostalgia in this match though. So
Yeah, because we have the confirmed Holly Molly,
hmm
confirmed Alundra Blaze. There was rumor of Medusa.
Tony,
Kelly will be there. No, Tori Wilson will be there. Rhea's gonna be in it. Rhea's gonna be in it. That would be a good. That would be. And Vega almost did stand tall.
hmm
I'm gonna stick with Naomi though.
this is,
What match do you have coming on next?
I'm trying to get the browser to behave itself. That's my current match.
Okay, so I do have the matches set up.
Okay, so
I don't want to go into this match because you're not 100% familiar with them.
yeah, I mean,
But how
if you
about we
want to talk
go
about the Mae
NXT?
Young Classic, that's fine. I will let you have the floor.
Nice segue into our news and rumors.
Oof.
So, will be taking place this week.
Hang on. I'm gonna close.
Tony
I'm gonna
Storm
close all of my windows here because you are far out. You are way out.
Okay.
So
Um,
with nothing else but you open now and my broadcast software. I believe we were going to talk about the Mae Young Classic and segue into our news and rumors a little bit more. I don't think we should.
no, I
talk
was gonna
news and rumors,
segue.
but
I
yeah.
was going to segue the news and rumors in from the NXT match.
Okay, let's talk about. Actually, there is one match that I definitely know is a part of the card, and that is the 6-woman tag. That is Natalya, Bayley, and Sasha Banks versus the Riot Squad.
Okay. We'll
Um,
come back to the Mae Young one then.
yeah, I think we should. I think we should hold that one for last because it has a lot of really
If I
good
do that
news
one
and
last, I can't segue into the NXT.
okay. Moving on.
Whatever.
The
Just
the
go ahead and go with
six
six
woman
man.
the 6-woman tag. I feel like the faces have to come out on top here. They do.
Okay. To counter, I'm going to say the Riot Squad.
Fair enough. I mean,
Uh, I don't think there needs to be any more matches after this. This should just be a one and done kind of thing.
oh yeah, this is definitely a one-off. Let's see.
Um,
Oh, because this has a little bit of news and rumors to it. Trish Stratus and Lita versus Mickey James and Alexa Bliss, maybe.
yeah, I've got some rumors on that too. Um,
I mean,
damn, I didn't realize how many of these I could have segued into the rumors with.
yeah. Here's the thing. I honestly don't know that Alexa
Look,
Bliss has been fully cleared, so I'm not banking on her being there. And if she is, she's going to be extraordinarily limited in what she's gonna do. So I maybe have Alicia Fox stepping in to take her place, which is why she won't win the Battle Royal. And that being said, I feel like it's gotta be Trish Stratus and Lita.
wow. Okay. I was gonna say if we're not unanimous on this, then we might not be able to function as a tag team anymore. But I'm not going to say that anymore because I went with the heels. I think whomever Mickey James is tagging with, they will come out successful because at the end of the day, they are active members of the roster. Having Lita and Trish win would do nothing for any four of them because we won't see Lita and Trish again,
Not for a
and
while.
it will just leave the rest of Little Miss Bliss squad in the dumps.
This is true, but then again, it could spark a because I think that having Mickey James on her side anymore, like at all, does not help Alexa Bliss, and it actively hurts her because she doesn't need an entourage, and having somebody to pin the blame on that isn't her is perfect for Alexa Bliss's character. And allowing her to separate from anybody else and just do her own thing is kind of a great proposition for Bliss going back to a solely solo act. So,
Okay, but with the amount of turns we've had on each other just in this year, this is the era of betrayal. First of all,
oh yeah, no, I see.
don't know if I can do another betrayal so soon.
We're gonna get to betrayals.
Yeah, we will.
Let's see. The saving the NXT Championship for last. We have a match that I think again was something I talked about at the very beginning. The Raw Women's Championship match: Rowdy Ronda Rousey versus Nikki Bella. Personally, this is a squash match.
In whose favor, though?
Ronda.
Thank you.
Ronda's got this in the fucking bag. Her dragging, and she's gonna drag both the Bellas. Not because Brie's gonna actively go that route, because she seems like she's just there to support Nikki, where Brie hasn't said anything, and it's all been Nikki.
So you say that go ahead.
I was gonna say I feel like she's gonna get to try and do something to distract the match, and Ronda's just gonna bury them both.
Speaking of distracting the match, how cool would it be if we saw Brie and Nikki come out in matching ring gear and we potentially saw a little bit of twin magic?
I think that's probably a thing that could happen, but
they'd have to go back to matching ring gear, and that would just be kind of obvious at that point too.
Yeah, it's like, we know what you're doing, we know why you're doing it, stop doing these things.
Also, Nikki has tits.
Yeah.
How about
the last woman standing match?
Yes. I thought you were about to say one of the last matches. I was just saying, no, there's two more after.
Last woman standing. Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. This is gonna be the match of the night. I really have it.
This is gonna be a match of the year contender.
Oh yeah. I mean, this one.
My buddy's going up to Evolution. I am so jealous.
Oh yeah, I would be jealous. Sit ringside for it. Becky Lynch. I feel like this is one of those ones that I don't want to see the end of, because what they've done so far has been amazing. What they've done so far has been just gold. And to see anybody else step into those shoes just yet to challenge either one of them, no matter which way it went, would, for me, just not work. It's like, no.
So, you don't want to see this end anytime soon. I don't think anyone wants to see this end anytime soon. But this cannot continue into WrestleMania.
Oh yeah.
The projection for WrestleMania is going to be Rousey v. Charlotte, so long as Charlotte still has credibility after this feud ends. Which might mean there's going to be a brand switch, because you're going to probably have to get the two of them on the same brand. Well, and I don't think they're going to send Rousey to SmackDown.
Well, here's how I see this working out. I would want to see kind of a, and I have to use the term, the match, the takeover Chicago, was it Takeover Brooklyn 4, where it was Ciampa versus Gargano for the last time in a last man standing match, where
Having flashbacks, and they're quite enjoyable.
I know. That just, it's like remembering the time that you had a really good drink. You can still kind of taste it. It's right there in your mind. You're like, oh my God, yes, that was the greatest thing ever. But
every Friday.
Yeah, right. So, let's see here. We've got Becky's, beat down.
We're winning this match.
Becky is placed in a position where it looks like there's no way she's getting back up. Charlotte just can't let it go and attempts to make that exclamation point, make that extra push to really decisively nail it down, ends up screwing herself over, and Becky retains.
Awesome.
That's how
Well, it's nice to know we're in agreement there as well.
Let's see what we can do about this.
Nice to know that we agree on our championship matches.
Yeah. Oh, look, everybody. She's back.
Maybe not for long. Just got the poor network connection again.
I don't know why.
Let's move into the Mae Young Classic Finals, which after Wednesday night was confirmed that what?
We do have one other match, but you said you wanted to do the NXT Women's Championship last.
I wanted to save that one for last.
Yes, you did. I'm sorry. I'm a terrible person.
How many times am I gonna say it?
I'm a terrible person. What do you expect? I'm sorry.
Okay. So, the Mae Young Classic finale takes place at Evolution on Sunday, and after Wednesday, we found out who our final two combatants are. The first being Toni Storm from Australia, and the second being Io Shirai from Japan. Both of these women are incredible. If you haven't watched any of the Mae Young Classic, at least go back and watch the quarterfinals before you go into Evolution. Because, good God, Tony's match against Emiko was amazing.
There was one woman who did appear on the Mae Young Classic that showed up this last week on NXT, and I'm intrigued because she's got blue hair.
Mia Yim.
Yep, Mia Yim.
After her match with Toni Storm in the top 8, the NXT WWE Universe demanded she be signed, and NXT listened.
I mean, typically they do that. Like, if you've got an overwhelming popularity, if you are super over with the crowd, you're getting your contract.
So I hadn't watched all of the Mae Young Classic. I started watching at the top 16.
Mm-hmm.
No, I started watching at top 8, I think. But someone who has stood out to me even in the indie scene has been Toni Storm, and that's who I'm actually going to go for as the winner of the Mae Young Classic.
I will back you up.
Just because Io Shirai has so much to offer in New Japan still.
I'm going to back you because I feel like either way, both of these women, while Io may have a lot of work left to do overseas, they're probably both with Baszler and Kairi Sane. They're both going to get contract offers because they're amazing.
Definitely. Speaking of Baszler and Sane, let's get into. We put it as the last match of the night. We know it's not going to be the last match of the night. We know one of the championship matches are going to end up being the not match of the night, the main event.
Yeah, not just match of the night, but the main event. And I've actually pegged it for the last woman standing match because that would take the longest.
Yeah, because that has the stipulation.
Yeah, and
The Battle Royal would take the longest.
I don't know. Depends on how they do it. If they actually do it like a real battle royal, or if they just decide, oh, we're gonna say it's a battle royal, and then start with all the women in the ring.
God, we have to sit through 2 Rumbles again this year.
Oh God. No. No.
Okay, but so this is the newest and hopefully not, no. If the way I have it going, this will not be the last match between the two of them. But Kairi Sane versus Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's Championship. The entire time this feud has been building up, Shayna's big claim is that Kairi did not beat me. I lost that match. I got comfortable. And therefore, she took the advantage. Again, she did not win. We've seen these amazing promos between the two of them, these beautiful vignettes, especially the one that they did on NXT this week. Thoughts on the match before we get to prediction?
This is going to be a war. This is going to be everything that these two women can throw at each other within the rules. I think that Shayna Baszler seems to have a mile-wide nasty streak running through her at the moment. With her whole facial expressions, her entire demeanor has toughened up and absolutely has said that she's not the same person she came in as, and that's good because your character should grow in a very real and tangible way. That being said, there's no fucking way on the planet Kairi Sane doesn't retain. Because
okay,
they eventually want to do the 4 horsewomen gimmick. They do. But
the other two still need a lot of training.
And that's fine. Having after she loses, she'll be called up. And she'll be on Raw with Ronda because Ronda's been seen with her in NXT. And
then we'll get the Bellas versus 2 of the horsewomen.
Mm-hmm.
You're so smart.
And this will continue to show that that while Ronda in and of herself is a very imposing task,
Shayna's better.
The fight between Shayna Baszler and Ronda Rousey at a pay-per-view is going to be amazing.
I'm not ready to see that for a good few years.
Well, here's the thing. It's going to be that I think everybody, like, a good turn by somebody like Flair to steal Shayna Baszler onto her side, and Charlotte goes heel because Charlotte can go heel, and everybody would buy it.
Charlotte's an amazing heel.
Yep. And by the way, Charlotte's move to Raw would be after the after Survivor Series.
It would be whenever the Superstar shakeup and call-ups would be.
Yeah. I feel like that Shayna Baszler winning doesn't help the title, doesn't help either character. Shayna Baszler losing helps Kairi Sane in the sense that she finally managed to once and for all put down her biggest rival and then let somebody else step up.
Um,
That, that's
you
me though.
bring on a very good point, and storyline wise, I understand where you're coming from. The issue is I'm such a big Baszler fan.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and we have three possible matches that we won't tie in.
That's good. Definitive winners.
But we have three matches we could tie in, but if neither of us get the battle royal right, that's only two matches, and if one of us gets one right and the other one gets the other one right, we're still tied. So I think just for the sake of being able to determine a winner, I'm going to stick with my gut and go Baszler.
I mean, you have that right. You absolutely do. I will
I'm just
not.
trying to think.
I won't begrudge
Because
you
there is a
choosing
good
whatever you want to
possibility
choose.
there are a couple names in the battle royal that I want to put down,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm only limited to one person, so I would not be surprised if some of my other names potentially won it. But we just spoke about our NXT match, and this is, as of right now, the only NXT match that we are getting at Evolution, the only match featuring NXT women. Although we are moving in rumors, so hopefully he's hit that button. Um,
I've got that button.
um, but even though there is only one NXT match at Evolution, all of the women of NXT are expected to be at Evolution and doing something. We just don't know yet. We just don't know what yet.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. That's all I had for that little rumor blurb.
For yours truly, I need to go back to one of my other pages because I was trying to bring up the wonderful things that I'd seen on online for. Oh yes. Speaking of the women of.
And this, ladies and germs, is why we have paper notes.
Yeah, I mean, I normally go with web browsers set off to the side because I like to have everything dead in front of me. This was written today, this afternoon.
Oh.
Apparently, Rowdy Ronda Rousey endorses WWE Crown Jewel staying in Saudi Arabia, and CNN covers their decision.
And to tack on to your little blurb about Rousey endorsing Saudi Arabia, I'm just going to go ahead and throw my little spot in and we can talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, the decision whether or not Crown Jewel will be happening in Saudi Arabia is now strictly up to the U.S. State Department. It is no longer in WWE's hands because, as Meltzer says, had McMahon had the choice, McMahon would have never not had the show in Saudi Arabia.
Yep. And the reason, again, for all of this whole thing, in case you've been living under a rock for the last week or got distracted by other things, the Saudi Arabian peoples have come forward that the death of Washington Post writer, I believe his name is, I'm terrible with first names, Amal Khashoggi. He died while picking up papers for his wedding. He got into a fist fight that turned fatal with a bunch of other guys that have been arrested, and they got their justice going on that. And we don't do political things here, but the political thing here is being closely examined by the State Department. So,
It's just, with this happening so near to the event, it's more of just a matter of safety.
yeah.
There's been rumors of it being in Manchester.
Which
I like to think that it will just be Vince McMahon in the audience.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about it going to Manchester, as you said. I caught something from What Culture that said that they have looked at the Manchester United Arena, and apparently they have a WWE show scheduled for November the 3rd. So,
But is it NXT UK?
I don't know. It was when you look.
They were in Cambridge the last recording.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that really wouldn't matter, because we don't know if they're doing seasonal or if they're doing full time.
Yeah.
On the UK brand. But I mean, it could very well be a backup for Crown Jewel. It could also be, and especially with November 2nd being so close, there should be a name on it. But it could also be WWE NXT UK.
Yeah. Well, the other part about it is somebody, I believe it was Brian Alvarez, broke the story that apparently when he had looked at the listing on Crown Jewel for the WWE Network, it said null for the location. So even they don't know.
That just means
yet.
they don't have a location yet.
Yeah, they don't know yet. But apparently, two-time Olympian Ronda Rousey spoke out in favor of continuing with Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia, telling TMZ, quote,
even though she can't compete there?
Yeah. Apparently, quote, I am a two-time Olympian, so I'm an idealist when it comes to sports. Nowhere else in the world would some man from Iraq and a little girl from Venice Beach be respecting each other and sharing space. And I think that sports is where we really find our common ground with each other. And I think pulling out of Crown Jewel would be the wrong move, because I think that this is an opportunity to be able to share our cultures and to define what we have in common, and in times, especially when, times of adversity between two countries, that's the absolute wrong time to be able to pull away. I think it's time for us to be able to find what we have in common and be able to understand each other more. ... Women can't compete in Saudi Arabia right now, but I think that if Crown Jewel is a huge success and WWE really takes off in Saudi Arabia, they're going to be demanding to see the women soon, end quote. I mean...
That sounds like somebody wrote that for her, first of all.
Yeah, that doesn't sound exactly
and
like
also, her. Granted, the women of Saudi Arabia have had a lot of difficulty getting the rights that they now have. They can now drive cars without men being accompanied. They have the right to vote now. They have the right to hold jobs. If what Ronda is saying about the WWE taking off in Saudi Arabia and the women, seeing the women on TV and having the women's movement take off there, that's not something that's going to happen because of Crown Jewel. That's going to be something that happens over the years.
Yeah.
Potentially not till the late 2020s,
Maybe.
Early 2030s, if that. And that all depends on, unfortunately, the state of our world.
This is true.
It all depends on the politics. It sounded like a beautiful, eloquent speech.
Oh, yeah.
But Rhonda didn't. That wasn't from Rhonda. That was from someone who wrote that for her.
Yeah. We do have... Speaking of Crown Jewel...
Speaking of Crown Jewel...
Yeah.
Damn it. Speaking of Crown Jewel, Wrestling Observer is now stating that CENA is off the card for Crown Jewel, and his absence will be addressed on TV in a storyline write-off. I think you said something about this last week with CENA and Bryan potentially pulling out.
Yeah.
And we had both agreed if CENA pulled out, it was no big deal. He was just a World Cup competitor. They can fill that in.
Yeah.
Bryan pulling out would be an issue because he does have a championship match.
Yeah, he's a bit more marquee, and I think I mean, you can kind of say it this way. John Cena doesn't need WWE. So if he decides he doesn't want to do this, he doesn't have to. He can absolutely walk away from Vince's money, and there's nothing Vince can do except beg him to stay. And with John absolutely putting forth on display his morals in this fashion, that not only tells Vince where John's line is, it tells the world where John's line is. It tells everybody in Hollywood and everybody around the world, I will do a certain thing up to a point, but when it gets to there, I'm not backing down. I don't care what you pay me. I don't need you. You will need me. And that's fine. I love that. That's great. That shows a moral character that is desperately needed. And as I said, John Cena's big enough. Daniel Bryan is big, but I don't think he's John Cena big. I don't think he can get away. I don't think he can get away with it. I think in this case, I'm going to say something that's going to be ridiculous, but I think it needs to be said. This needs to be a WrestleMania 20 instance, where both Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles realize the situation they're in, absolutely hating the position they've been put in, and despite all the things that could go right, they turn it around and make it a farce. They make it a joke. They turn it on its head and thumb a nose at Vince for doing this to them, for making them be in this position. And that is
a prime example of how you get your contract bought out in the future endeavors.
Yeah, well, I mean, in this
granted,
instance,
they'll find success on the indie scene, but WWE is still the place to be.
Yeah, but could you imagine?
Not to be, but that's where all the revenue is.
I mean, Young Bucks making more money than anybody else.
Compare how much a WWE wrestler makes compared to a Ring of Honor wrestler.
Oh yeah, no, you're not making a consistent paycheck in the figures that they're making, especially with AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan being as big as they are. But the fact of the matter is how else do you protest? How else can you? There's nothing else that they have.
I'm pretty sure there's something backstage corporate wise that the wrestlers can do to air grievances, so long as it's not, the bullshit that you would see at wrestling court where Undertaker was always the judge, jury, and executioner.
Yeah.
I think in order to air a grievance with Vince, it needs to be big enough before you jump script and completely potentially derail your career, because then it shows that you can't take orders, you can't follow a storyline, you can't follow a match. You had to, in order to make a work go over, you had to shoot on the company.
Yeah.
Speaking, no, not quite speaking of works and shoots, but let's talk about the New World Order.
I think we can do that.
So, recently, Kevin Nash was at a comic convention and did a Q&A section. According to a Reddit user who posted video on Reddit, I think you can post video on Reddit. I don't Reddit.
I don't Reddit either.
Kevin Nash, when asked, claims that the upcoming NWO reunion is solely to gauge fan interest in having the group inducted into the Hall of Fame. Not surprising considering how long it's been since we've seen an NWO thing. A lot of people that watch, I don't want to say a lot of people that watch wrestling now, but a good portion of the people that watch wrestling now were not watching wrestling during the NWO era. I was not. I had to go back and watch it.
I have a thing. I have actually just thought of a thing. Okay. With John Cena needing to be written out of the storyline in very swift fashion, and the fact of the matter is we've been hearing rumors for years that Hulk Hogan was going to come back, and there's not the fact that he absolutely needs to win. Why the fuck wouldn't you put him on a plane to Saudi Arabia and have him job out to somebody else?
And there's been rumors of Hogan showing up at Crown Jewel. Do you really want a racist to show up at Crown Jewel?
I mean, I'm not gonna say. I'm
I
not gonna
don't
say
like
it.
where your idea is going. I don't like where your idea is going. I've connected the dots. I would rather not hear those words come out of your mouth.
Yeah, but I think he's gonna show up.
Ew, as long as he's not competing.
He is competing. He's gonna fill John Cena's spot. He's gonna take John
Shut
Cena's
up.
spot and lose. That's how
Speaking
that's
of
gonna.
people who we don't know will be competing,
Mm-hmm.
despite the rumors circulating around Alexa Bliss's injury, which people have now narrowed down to either a concussion or a broken nose, Alexa is still expected to compete at Evolution, hopefully being cleared by tomorrow.
Yeah, she needs to. They need to get on that.
Mickie James states on the Bustin' Open radio that Bliss will be competing at Evolution. She has been training and is more than ready to get into the ring.
I mean, again, I don't know if she will be, but I very much think that she might be.
I have
Oh, speaking of,
I have a lot of hope that Bliss will come back in time.
speaking of injuries and the things we don't want to talk about. Apparently,
Wait, are you stealing my stories?
I was just gonna say something about our dear, good, amazing Roman Reigns. I'm not gonna say what you're saying because
You're stealing my stories.
No, I'm not. I actually have a thing that you didn't have and I didn't tell you about.
Oh, you mother clucker.
According to sources, apparently, while we have a bit of news on who knew about Roman Reigns' announcement, his announcement was made. Apparently, he stayed on the bus and in the locker room and walked out to the ring by himself and was isolated for a long period of time before he went out and made that devastating promo to the WWE universe.
He couldn't.
Yeah.
He had to, when you announce something that big, you have to find a way to be able to compose yourself, to not just break down in front of millions of people watching on the TV.
Yeah, in front of and especially
not
your
surprising.
friends. Like your friends.
Not surprising. A lot of people.
Coworkers, you wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be able to do it.
Well, and if you go back and watch the Daniel Bryan 24, he isolated himself before he made the announcement of his retirement. It's a very common coping mechanism for people that have to leave an area that they love and are not ready to leave.
Yeah. Speaking of that announcement, I believe you know who you were going to tell us who knew.
I wasn't quite getting into that one yet.
Okay, you had something else then.
I guess I could try to figure out a segue for it instead. I was actually going to talk about the Dean Ambrose heel turn. As we saw, WWE had been teasing the Ambrose heel turn for weeks now. But he was originally not expected to turn until Survivor Series. And due to the announcement of Roman Reigns' condition, that is why they moved it up to last week at Raw. Speaking of Reigns' condition, to tag on to what you said, it is to believe that a very small number of people actually knew about the leukemia diagnosis, and much of the reaction we saw on TV with the wrestlers, the commentary, and everybody, that was raw emotion. They found out when we found out.
I very much believe that. It's like Vince McMahon, Kevin Dunn, and
oh yeah, and Vince wasn't even there.
Vince wasn't even there. No, I'm pretty sure that Hunter knew. Hunter knew. He had to know. And a very small set of WWE doctors.
I honestly think it was just the WWE doctors that knew, and then members of his immediate family.
Yeah, I think his wife knew.
So Jax, Tamina, and the Usos.
Maybe.
I only have one more story after this,
Let's
and it's
go.
not really that important.
What do we got?
Oh, don't you have something else?
I actually have. I don't have any of my stories. I lost them all.
Okay.
I mean, I can
So,
maybe try and bring one up.
no, that's okay. I have to go potty soon.
Okay.
Sorry guys, TMI. WWE recently, as of last week, began recording their house shows.
Mm.
It is believed by Dave Meltzer that WWE is making, I don't know the freaking rules, but they're making a very obvious change as to the way that they are producing their house shows in order to bring more content and more viewingship. And this hand in hand with what Vince McMahon said during the quarter 3 conference call,
Hmm.
basically saying that they're trying to bring in more attendance to house shows.
I mean, I completely believe that. Here's the thing, though. On the hang on, I need to do a thing here because your whole thing isn't working and my whole thing isn't working. I'm sorry, but either way, yeah, bringing in more people into the shows is always a good idea, and having more viewership for the network is always a good idea. Again, for me, the one of the things that I think is also a thing is that nobody knows about the house shows. It's like I generally don't know about them, but
I
um,
beg to differ. AJ Styles won the U.S. Championship at a house show
I didn't say they
at
were
Madison
useless.
Square Garden.
I didn't say they were useless. I just said that they were that not a lot of people know about them or even
Look, if you
generally
have the
go.
chance to go
But
to a live show, go to it because the wrestlers are less. They have more fun at the shows because it's typically not recorded.
hmm.
They can have a little bit more fun with the fans. That's where Naomi's glow belt first came into fruition.
Nice.
A lot of the ideas, Seth Rollins was wearing a lot of the girls' stuff during breast cancer last year. He
Really?
was wearing like he wore Alexa Bliss's gloves to the ring, or maybe it was for like the women's rumble. He was doing something in support of the women
Hmm.
because he wore like Alexa Bliss's gloves to the ring with the skull things. He had a Bailey bracelet on at one point.
Hmm.
He wore the Sasha Legit Boss shades. Um, they have a lot more fun at the live shows.
That they do. I'm sorry. I did kind of manipulate the truth a little bit. Not that I intended to, but I just remembered I did have one more story.
Okay, I think my bladder can take it.
Um, it was about Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe is reportedly injured.
What was Samoa Joe doing last? Oh,
Apparently, like
Wendy!
yeah, apparently
That's
post
what he was
his
doing last.
post his post his fight with AJ Styles, he's out with an undisclosed injury, according to according to the Wrestling Observer newsletter. His last match was a loss to Jeff Hardy on the October 9th edition of SmackDown Live in qualifying for the World Cup. So
Oh
that
shit, you're right.
that's the last time it happened. Like we saw him, but he apparently, I guess he might have been dealing with nagging injuries
He
from all
probably
this
had been
stuff.
dealing with the injury prior to that match,
Yeah, and had to step
and him
away.
taking the loss was kind of a way for him to step away.
Yeah,
Because, had he probably not been injured, he would have qualified.
yeah, it would have been interesting. Um, but that's our show, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, share all those wonderful things down below. Hit the bell for the notifications. Follow the show on Twitter at InMoshPit. Follow her at Heavy Metal Hippie. Me at Rob Random Roms. And we will see you all on Tuesday night for our Monday night Raw review. Later.
We're not doing Monday for Evolution.
Oh yes, we might be in maybe on Monday for the Evolution review.
To
Maybe.
be determined.
To be decided if it works out that way. So we'll see. We will see you next time. Definitely.
Bye.
All right. Stop
I can't believe